Okay, good evening. Welcome. Today, I want to focus on something that separates disciplined investors from emotional investors, and that's understanding how to actually analyze a tax lien opportunity before placing a bid. One of the biggest mistakes people make in the space is assuming every lien is a good opportunity simply because it's available at the auction, but that's honestly not the case. A tax lien can have great interest rate attached to it, but it could still be connected to a really bad property or a really risky situation. So today, I want to walk you through how to think about opportunities more strategically, how experienced investors look at them before making bids. And then we're going to look at why having a system matters, okay? Because the goal here is not simply to just buy liens, because you can go anywhere and just buy liens, but the goal is to make intelligent investment decisions. Most investors don't lose money because they're unintelligent. They lose money because they rush into opportunities without a process. A lot of people see high interest rates and immediately become excited about asking deeper questions. They immediately become excited without asking deeper questions about the property itself or the land. They see a number, they make a decision, and there's no investigation, there's no research or strategy behind that. So they begin bidding emotionally. And emotional investing usually creates expensive mistakes. Another issue is the lack of research. Many investors don't verify property details, the ownership information, accessibility, market demand, or surrounding conditions before bidding. And finally, many people have no tracking system. Sorry, they have no tracking system. So they have no way to actually organize or to keep up with their with the properties, with the tax liens that they are investing and or have already purchased. One of the biggest mindset shifts that you need to have is making an understanding that every tax lien opportunity is different. No one tax lien opportunity is going to be the same tax lien to tax lien, county to county. Each individual one is different, and you should really approach it in that way. Okay. Not every property carries the same value. Not every market carries the same demand. And not every lien carries the same level of risk. For example, a lien attached to a residential property in a growing market may be very different from a lien attached to a vacant land in an undesirable area. The location matters, the property type matters, the surrounding demands matter. And the level of risk can vary dramatically from one property to another. And this is why experienced investors analyze opportunities individually rather than assuming that all liens are the same. Now, before bidding on anything, there are several important questions that you should automatically ask yourself. And the long list of those are listed under the due diligence tab on the Flip platform, which we will look at a little bit later. But these four questions are the main questions that you really should automatically be asking yourself. And the first is, what type of property is this? Is it residential? Is it commercial? Is it vacant land? Is it agricultural? The next question is there actual demand in this market? Just because a property exists, it doesn't mean that people actually want to buy it, build on it, rent it, or even develop there. Then ask, is the property legally accessible? Some properties are landlocked and cannot legally be assessed without crossing another property. And I believe we spoke a little bit about this in the last Zoom call that we did. And finally, what risk exists? Environmental concerns, if there are any. Are there flood zones? Is it in a wetland? Extremely low value market? These are the types of questions that help investors slow down and think strategically instead of emotionally. There are several major red flags that investors should learn how to identify early. One example is landlocked property. That means there may be no legal road access to the parcel. Another issue is wetlands or environmentally restricted land. Just because land exists does not mean it can actually be used or developed. I personally have seen a lot of that when I was looking really further south in Florida. I noticed that the further south you get, like I'm talking like into the Keys area, you'll start noticing that you'll see more areas that are like that. And that could be an issue because just because the land exists, again, it doesn't mean that you can build on it or do things with it. So unless you have a plan for that, you may end up stuck in something that's wasn't really wise. So some investors also purchase liens attached to property in extremely low demand areas where resale potential may be very limited. And sometimes there are environmental concerns like code issues or development restrictions that reduce the value or usability of the property. This is why due diligence is so important. I cannot stress that enough. This is why due diligence is so important. You should never assume an opportunity is good simply because it appears at auction. Successful investors research before they bid. They review property appraiser data, they check county records, they study maps and aerial imagery, they compare nearby properties and market activity, and they analyze whether the opportunity actually makes sense within the larger market. The goal is not to bid on everything. The goal is to make informed decisions based on actual information. And that's what separates disciplined investors from gamblers. Honestly, this is where most beginners struggle because the information is often scattered across multiple county systems and websites. So this is where systems becomes extremely important because once you start reviewing multiple counties, auctions, and opportunities, things can become overwhelmingly very quickly, become extremely overwhelming very quickly. And this is one of the reasons why in this community, I like to just focus on the state of Florida because when you start trying to, it's already can be a little bit challenging on the learning side. So then when you start trying to take into multiple states and multiple municipalities and the different rules and regulations and laws that go into that, I feel like it could hinder the learning. I think it's best to use the learning in one state, learn that process, and then you inch out or branch out into the other states that may interest you um, in tax lien or deed investing. So you really need to have a process and you need to have some organization. And you need a system that helps you track opportunities consistently. The more organized your workflow becomes, the more confident your investing decisions become. Good systems reduce emotional decision making and they help you slow down, analyze properly, and stay focused on opportunities that actually align with your investing goals. And again, this is exactly why I built Flip, the Florida Lien Investment Platform. I saw how fragmented this process could be for investors, different counties, different auction systems, different data sources. So, Flip was designed to help centralize the process and create more structure around tax lien investing. The platform helps investors organize opportunities, conduct research more efficiently, and track potential investments in a more structured way. It's not about removing investor responsibility. No, it's not about having a system to do it for you. You still have to do your due diligence, right? But if you use it to think critically and to perform that due diligence, then it's going to work in your favor and help you to make smart investment choices. Okay. So, again, the platform was designed to help investors make better and more informed decisions. Now that we've covered the mindset and analysis side of the tax lien investing, I want to transition into the practical side and show you how this actually works in real time. We're going to walk through the Flip platform together. We're going to look at a real example or two. We're going to basically what I really want to look at today is the live auction. So how long that takes will determine how many we can actually, how many individual liens we can pull up and go through. But I do want to overall talk through how investors can, organize, analyze opportunities more effectively when going through this process and using Flip. Okay, so now this is where the educational side is going to connect directly into execution. So to access the Flip platform, again, you have to come through the school community. So when you come through the school community, if you haven't already done so, you're going to come into the classroom tab. The first module, the Flip onboarding, I highly recommend you go through each of the lessons under the module, only because it just gives you an idea of how to like utilize the community, how to walk through and do different things, like what you kind of can and cannot do. Like, there's not really much you can't do. I really just kind of ask for people to be respectful. I'm not gatekeeping. If you have something that is tax lien related and maybe you might be interested in, and even talking about it in the community, again, this is our community. I want you to do that. I don't want you to feel restricted. So in order to access the Flip platform, you go through the Flip onboarding module and it'll say set up your Flip platform access, and the link is right there. If you haven't already, I'm already logged in, so I don't think it's gonna bring me to the home screen. Sorry. So I'm logged in. When you come into the home screen, if you haven't already requested access, just request access. Use the email address that you use to come into the community, because I'll search that to make sure. And because again, the only way to get access is to come through the community. So if you use that email address, I'm going to search it in the members. And if I see it, I'm going to grant access immediately. If you have a different email that you would want to use, i.e., let's say maybe you want to do your tax lien investing under an LLC and you have an email address for that LLC, just go ahead and send me a message and say, hey, Latoya, I want to request access, but for this email address. And then that will just let me know, like, for my own checks and balances. Um, so today I really just want to do a little live walkthrough on some auctions, okay? Um, let's go to counties and let's go with Brevard County, okay? I haven't looked through here. Actually, I think maybe for some of the over the counters, but since the live auctions have been going on, I haven't looked in this specific county. If you guys don't know, if you don't remember, because I also think I might have posted in the community, but this is the season for live auctions in Florida. Live auctions usually kick off around in the month of May because it's a requirement for them, I believe, to have them done by June 2nd or 3rd. So because of that, May is like for a power month for live auctions. Okay. So this is Brevard County. And remember, I said whenever we come to the county collectors, the county tax collector, always go to menu or look for anything that might be associated with tax liens. We have Lien Hub right here. So that was pretty self-explanatory. And we want to look at auction. So we want to bid on tax liens. And let's look at the auction schedule. Okay, perfect. Actually, and look, we're right on time. It's the 17th of May, and the list was actually populated and available on May 13th. So we're only a few days behind. Bidders can begin to submit W-9 forms and set budget amounts and pay deposits on Lien Hub on the same day. The first batch closes on May 28th. The last batch closes on May 29th. Cleanup batch is May 29th. And payment due for purchases is June 2nd. And if you don't win, estimated date refunds of deposits is June 16th. So that's some pretty good information. But what we want to look at